6,000 housing units. Right now, we are releasing the newly procured ones, over 55,000, and therefore, I want to confirm that that money is already taken up, plus, of course, unexpected, maybe annual income through the levy of about 62, 63 billion shillings if, the Kenya revenue does its work properly. And I think that is the amount we expect per year, about 63 to 65 billion shillings. So the 38 is part of the budget that we presented and will all be spent in this year. So Dawu, I want to encourage you. I believe that I'm here to seek support also for my suitability, and when that happens, if that happens, I think on my part I should say if that happens, then we should be looking at. Meru is a beneficiary of some of our affordable housing. We've come there with the president, so maybe we have not reached your constituency.
No, Speaker, they have launched with His Excellency, put the stone.
Your question
but
is that
we
have
not moved
started.
Even one way, and they've got the money in the account while she was the minister. That's why I'm not saying if she's confirmed. While she was the minister, it has not moved.
Sometimes, Honorable Speaker, I appreciate the concern of the Honorable Member. Sometimes lack of takeoff is because of various things. Maybe documentation perfection is not complete, logistical issues. Sometimes even when we do proper investigation, you find that the contractor who had said that they are able to take off sometimes get a bit of delay, and we are supporting even local contractors. So I don't think it's a case where we are that so strict. We are working with our local contractors, and sometimes logistical issues. And thank you, Honorable Judet, for once. I know it is a very important key issue in terms of implementation.
Yes, Owen.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. I want to ask one question, one very important question. Cabinet nominee, land in this country is one of the reasons why we had the 2010 Constitution. It's one of the key aspects. And it actually gave birth to Article 67, which formed the National Lands Commission, where people from regions that for a long time had issues on land, especially historical land injustices, that gave birth to Ndungu Report, Jonjo Report, and many other reports, pushed and voted. My people woke up very early in the morning to go and vote for the new constitution, not because of any other thing, but because of land, especially the coast. Today in Parliament, over 80% of the petitions we receive are actually on issues related to land and security. Now, looking at it, it becomes, therefore, it requires leadership, strong leadership to actually finish these issues of land. But the National Lands Commission, I don't want to belabor the issue of National Lands Commission because you've answered many questions, is one of the key planks in resolving the issues of land. People knew there was a ministry, but then they set up the National Lands Commission so that they can solve the problems. So the minister and National Lands Commission must work together to ensure that eventually people get justice in terms of historical land injustice and review of grants. Nominee, I am reliably informed that since you became CS, you have never had a meeting with the board, the National Lands Commission, a formal meeting to actually sit and discuss issues and give leadership in the sector. And I think this is bringing issues as we move forward. But Honorable Speaker, what I would like to say this, we have moved amendments to amend the National Lands Commission Act so that we can extend their mandate in review of grants and hearing historical land injustice. But the biggest impediment has been the ministry, including a letter that we received from you dated 24th April, which is signed by you, that there are certain issues. When the committee called you for the meeting to discuss these amendments, the committee said that the minister did not make an input. But when we passed the law in Parliament, when it was going now, we are supposed to send it first, and we respected your letter, and actually these were my amendments, and we held back. But the vibes I get, if I can use that word, the vibes I get is that probably the minister does not want the National Lands Commission to exist. She wants absolute power to run whatever she wants, the show in the land sector. And they're
making a speech. Can I ask a question?
So my question is, do you still believe that we should not review the law, especially section 14 and 15 of the National Lands Commission, to give them power to review grants and to hear historical injustice? Nominee, do you still believe we should not review that and deny the National Lands Commission the power, or you have changed your mind about it?
In those many words, he's asking, are you hostile to the National Land Commission? And have you ever met them since you became minister?
Maybe I will repeat first that I don't know where your information is coming from, Honorable Member, but I said that I enjoy cordial relationship with Otachi Garrison, the chairman, and his commission. That is one. We have not had any conflict, either by exchange of letter or by verbal exchange. So the source you have could be a very biased or an incorrect source. I am working with them. Remember, they are also an independent commission, and their mandate, they must also not encroach on the mandate of the executive, because their mandate is very clear in the Constitution, and I have no personal interest or ministerial interest or executive interest to encroach on their mandate. But they must also remember there is also the clear mandate they have, and we have. I have met them, Honorable Chair, in various meetings, formal meetings. I have met the board, and when the chair also confirmed that the board is coming, some of the members did not come, and I don't want to go into that, because the commission, I think you need to summon the commission yourself as Parliament. The commission has its own challenges. I think it's right now maybe a bit...
You say you have no problem with them, then continue to list their problems.
Not myself, person, their own challenges, not between me and them, Honorable Chair.
Okay, it's
that's what
them.
I'm saying.
Okay.
Maybe the reason they are not working is the challenge between, but not between me. They have handed over, during a formal meeting, the national land policy, because as their mandate, they recommend to the ministry the national land policy. We have had a whole morning meeting, the entire board led by their chairman. So, and the chairman also paid a courtesy call. We have had other mini meetings for various things with the chair and any other commission that has an issue to deal with at the ministry level. So I'm okay.
Your speaker.
Microphone.
Amendment of section 14 and 15.
I think my take would be the take of everybody else. I mean, I work for the country. If those provisions, that particular maybe amendment you are talking about, if it is subjected to public participation and debate and other stakeholders and it goes through, then I wouldn't be the one who would hold it. But I don't want to sit here and say that it's okay, because it may not be okay for many other stakeholders.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Honorable Alice Wahome, this Ministry of Lands has been cited as corrupt from time immemorial. And the issue of, even when you watch news, many times you find people have been, kicked out of their houses because of the issue of fake titles, which you've addressed very well, I must say, because you've said you have a way of dealing with the fraudsters. Even if they have to go to court, let them go to court. But my question is, what action do you propose to take if you are approved on the staff of the ministry that are clearly, in many instances, involved in the same fraud? Because you've given us a direction on what you do with the fraudsters outside, but what about the staff? Because those ones are your staff. And secondly, when Kenya Kwanza came into office, there was the promise that the issue of evictions and demolitions of people's homes would be a thing of the past. You saw over 10,000 people kicked out of their homes in Mavoko, and that still continues to happen. In fact, recently, I think some people are kicked out of some estates within the city of Nairobi, and compensation given was definitely not enough, and part of it never even got to the registered owners. How do you, has the policy changed? And if so, what do you want to tell those Kenyans that have such issues and are concerned?
Let's take, we're going this way? No, we're coming that way. Amisi?
Speaker, for starting where I am. Speaker, I've been quietly listening to these proceedings. I may not be a happy person because I expected, we vetted the nominee before us 2 years or so ago, and she has served in various portfolios. I expected a progress report, sort of success stories from where we posted her. But I can just see a lot of verbosity on this and this land issue. This land issue, Speaker, it affects even the public offices. If you look at the audit report of parastatus and the government agencies, 90% of the audit is just on land, either ownership, one entity taking another one to court, one parastato, and it consumes a humongous amount of money between legal fees and accounting fees and the surveying fees. So it is an area that you do not just talk about it in the passing. So I wanted to hear from the nominee. Yes, she has served there. She's going there back. I don't have your progress report so far. But the issue of parastatals and the government.
You say she's going back before we decide?
Yes, if she's approved. Yes. The issue of parastatos and the government agencies taking each other to court on land issues. Is there a policy statement that you can solve it once and for all so that we save this country a lot of money that is being used between lawyers and the legal firms in all the parastatos, virtually all of them, and the perennial historical land injustices? I come from Kitale, and I think you've been there. You've tried to come across the land issue of the Kitale prisons, and it is across the country. We are perennially in constant problems with our constituents and the grabbers and landowners and the government entities perennially. Can it stop once for all? Can we have a progress report from your ministry going forward?
Answer the question by Robert and Amisi.
From Robert, what am I doing with my staff? What have I done with the staff that I have said that sometimes they are part and parcel of the cartels? Since I got into the ministry, we have had 4 arrested officers and charged in court. There is another 3 under disciplinary processes. And therefore, I think to that extent, and have had a meeting with all the registrars in the country to restate the policy and the position of the minister and government in terms of this business of participating in fraud. And they know, and we have many other cases with the DCI, and I think there will be likely other officers that will be taken away by those cases. I think I could say to that, and I have also said that I intend to come back to Parliament to sharpen the provisions that will help to deal with the fraudsters. Then you asked, I think the question on kicked out, I don't understand that one. Demolitions of people who Mathare and elsewhere during the rain season. I think half of those people had already suffered a big blow for being within the riparian and the watercourse area. And even those who were affected because of building along the river were also calling for government intervention to be provided for with homes. We have, I think the estimated numbers, if I'm not wrong, and those would be mainly with the Kindiki, because of interior coordination, was about maybe 20. The last estimate that came to the cabinet was about 20,000 Kenyans that were affected by the demolitions. I think demolitions are right now not going on, but it was so that they are removed from already insecure space along the river, where in any event they were being devastated by the floods, because we experienced out of the normal, maybe beyond the normal of the floods or rainfall. Therefore, I think going forward, as a government, we need better, maybe, these are emergencies and you require maybe money to be able to settle those kind of people. So I think everything adds up with, do we have funding to be able to resettle them? They were given 10,000 and some, I'm told some, I think there is information that some may not have received, which is still not sufficient, but it was a gesture for people who also, Kenyans must stop also building along the rivers. I don't know, I know and I understand and I believe that these Kenyans don't have maybe better places, but remember some of the people utilizing, some of those people are not the owners of the structures. The structures could be owned by people living elsewhere. I mean, on government parastatal, I think land moving from one maybe person to another, parastatal fighting each other and cases in court. I have already proposed to the executive that we circulate, before I left office, that I think in June I proposed that all the departments, all the ministries forward to the ministry the list of their properties so that we can now start cracking holistically so that we have a one government approach in terms of recovery. I was given approval to circulate that request to call for departments to forward all land that is said and known to have been grabbed. We will be working on that. Of course, I will require police, I will require the investigative agencies, and I will require the EACC. And I think then it is, whether I'm the minister or not, Kenyans should be prepared to move from government-owned properties because it is public wealth, it is public property, and it is horrible where, as the situation where we are. And I agree with you, we should give it a one holistic approach so that we clear with it once and for all.
Thank you, Chair. Honorable Waziri, I just want to ask you one question regarding the pending bills, because I understand there are many pending bills in your ministry. I need to know how you are going to sort it out, considering the current financial state at the moment. The other question is about compensation. There are many Kenyans who have given their ad to the government, and they've been waiting for their money, and it's like it's taking too long. Thank you.
Ms. Shimbogo.
Asante sana mwenyekiti. Nitauliza maswala mawili, swala la kwanza kwa lugha ya Kiswahili na swala la pili kwa lugha ya Kiingereza. Swala langu la kwanza, Mheshimiwa Wahome, ambaye umekuwa waziri katika hii wizara kwa muda mfupi, ningependa kujua mikakati ambayo utaweka katika wizara yako na kupitia serikali kuu ya Kenya Kwanza ya kuhakikisha ya kwamba Wakenya wengi ambao wamejenga kwa miaka nenda miaka rudi katika zile ardhi ambazo zilikuwa zinaitwa GL ama government land, na zile ardhi ambazo kuna absentee landlord, yani wale wamiliki hawajulikani na hawako, na pia wale ambao wamejenga katika ardhi za wale wamiliki ambao walipatiwa ile tunaita grants ama zabuni, rubuni, na watu kama hao hawajafika katika sehemu hizo na wala hawajulikani, kwa sababu kihistoria wakati wa nyuma kulikuwa na siasa zile ambazo mtawala akiingia anaweza kupatia marafiki grant ya mashamba katika sehemu tofauti tofauti, na jambo hili limefanyika sana katika sehemu ya bonde la Ufa na sehemu ya pwani. So ni mikakati gani ambayo serikali kupitia wizara yako itafanya ndio tatizo hili la mashamba liwe historia, isiwe kila wakati wa siasa, wakati wa kampeni Wakenya bado wanauliza maswali yale kwa yale. Na niweze pia kuweza kukubaliana na Mheshimiwa Owen wakati aliposema ya kwamba kuna tashwishi ya kwamba huenda pengine wewe, na hiyo ni hisia yangu, ukirudi katika wizara hino utaweza kuendelea kuhujumu tume ya ardhi, kwa sababu wakati mmoja ulikataa kuongeza muda wa kushughulikia mambo ya historia za mashamba, na tatizo hili ni tatizo nyeti katika bonde la Ufa, katika pwani na Kenya kwa jumla. Kwa hivyo hivi sasa umesema ya kwamba mambo yatakuwa tofauti, tunataka tuone ya kuwa tofauti, kwa sababu tatizo hili bado liko, hatujaona ya kwamba kama tumefaidika katika mambo ya dhulma za kihistoria za mashamba. Swali langu la Kiingereza, what specific timeline?
The Kiswahili version was just a speech. Now ask the question.
Mwenyekiti, hilo ni swali na nafikiri Mheshimiwa Wahome ameelewa hilo swali nilivyoliuliza. My second question, Honorable Chairman, what specific timeline did you establish when you are the Cabinet Secretary for the Ministry of Land for the completion of digitization of land records across all the counties? How many counties right now they have those digitized land records? What is your roadmap? Many times we have been putting some allocation in terms of this program of digitization of land records. So what are you telling? What is the status right now? We want to hear, because we know this is the only way where we can avoid some cartels, we can avoid some corruption and so many other anomalies. Thank you, Honorable Chairman.
Thank you. Sharia, we can take Sharia as well.
Thank you, Honorable Chairman. I think you're teaching us something new, saying no chairs. And Mheshimiwa Wahome, significant parts of the country are formerly trust lands and fall under the Community Lands Act. It's public knowledge that the community land legal regime remains not fully operationalized, and if granted, has not been regime not fully operationalized. If confirmed, what possible solutions do you propose? I thank you, Honorable Chair.
Can you answer those, Alice?
Chair, from Honorable Shurie, trust lands, it is true, this most of this is what we call as community land. We have the Community Land Act 2016, and the Community Land Act is operational. We are registering community lands everywhere in the country, but it is a slow process because the communities, the members of those communities must sit and agree, prepare inventory, and it's not an easy process, because also we have seen that leadership sometimes within the communities is infiltrated by politics, but the preparation of the inventories is quite a tedious task, because every member is supposed to agree and sign, and then have that inventory forwarded by the office of the governor under the law, so that then you can start the process of registering. But we are on course in terms of various counties, and I believe we need the support, in fact, of elected leadership to expedite those processes as a government. Then Mheshimiwa Mishi is asking, I believe what she's asking me is a policy issue, and in terms of absentee landlord and people who have moved and become squatters on people's lands. We are in the process, Mr. Speaker, of finalizing the national land policy. It is a matter that should squarely be captured there, so that as a country we agree what to do. But also, we must not encourage there is a lot of criminality in some of the people in terms of moving to people's land and becoming professional squatters. Those must be discouraged, but there are also genuine squatters that the country and the government need to work with and work on, that require sometimes the government to raise budget to purchase those parcels where the squatters are, and then do a land settlement in terms of the squatters. So the program in terms of land settlement is ongoing, is a program of the government. We need more funding for that. The government needs more funding to deal with that, Honorable Mishi. But I agree with you, there is a lot of this problem in terms of absentee landlord. Let's have policy, and the policy will be brought to Parliament, and the input of Parliament would be very critical in terms of handling those. Then I think extension. Honorable Bayer, you accuse me of maybe being the person rejecting. I hope, Honorable Member, you haven't been given the wrong card in respect of my activities in terms. This particular, the Commission has not come to me officially or formally to say they want to extend. And in any case, the term of the Commission in terms of historical land injustices was limited by the statute, not by the minister. Opening that would require an amendment, but also we must, and I, as a minister who has served, we must caution the country that we cannot have historical injustices for land perpetually. We need to be very careful, and also if we open, we must limit that to a certain period, because we are talking about historical, not current. Any other current injustices can be done within our courts of law. We talk about historical, and that's why there was a time limit. Sorry, Honorable Speaker, I think there was a question on the digitization. No, not yet. There was the question on digitization, where we are. I had said earlier, we've done Nairobi, Mombasa, we are ongoing. Isiolo is more or less complete. In another 1 month, we'll finish with Isiolo. Murang'a is basically on board. Then we've gone to Machakos. We have 27 counties that we are working with currently. And I wouldn't be able to say specifically. I had estimated that to do the entire work, we may require another 5 years if funding is properly availed. And I have had talked about between 35 billion to 40 billion Kenya shillings to do the entire exercise.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Honorable Alice, land is a factor of production. And where I come from, land actually is a major source of conflict. And the many questions honorable colleagues have raised, it is indicative of that, whether you are in urban or rural areas. The first question which I want to pose to you is this thing called Ardhi Sasa. The major problem, and that is why Kenyans are angry, is because a simple transfer of land or property from one individual to other take maybe 1 year or 2 years. If really we have a platform, if really it is digitized, why would it take inordinately such a long time if what you are explaining to the committee is seamless? Secondly, I think the issue of corruption in land, it is not just simply said. I think it's profound. Examples are everywhere. In the county of Marsabit, we largely live on community land or trust land. But what is surprising, there are individuals who hold titles in areas that have not been adjudicated. And when they go to the ground, they are told, show us the extent of this land, and they cannot. So what is simply happening is those individuals who are involved in titling are the ones who actually are illegally issuing illegal title deeds. Going forward, if the House is going to approve your nomination, what is it that you are going to do differently? Because, Honorable Speaker, I have to make this point. From what Honorable Alice has given the committee this afternoon, I think that committee may be running into headwinds with you, simply because you need to carry leaders along. Because land is not just anything. Land is about community, it is about people, it is about settlement. So people must really be carried along. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. And I want to ask the nominee. She has a broad ministry moving from land, public works, housing, and urban development. And as a nominee, you must have a vision. And I want to ask the first question is that, what is your vision to sustain urban development in the 47 counties? And how do you plan to address the challenge of rapid urbanization in terms of planning, in terms of giving blueprints of how the water supply will be done, roads construction will be done, the issue of electrifying those urban areas, and the issue which is very fundamental of sewerage in most of upcoming towns within Kenya. Secondly, the State Department of Planning Public Works launched the National Building Code 2024 on 17th of July 2024. The code is expected to update the standards and the requirement in the construction industry and aims to resolve the various issues affecting the Kenya building economy environment. If approved, how would you support the execution of this code? Various associations, including the Association of Construction Managers of Kenya and Interior Designers Association of Kenya, have raised concern concern on being unrecognized by the code. What is your opinion and what is the remedy of this? In prayer on my first question, when you get to that ministry, are you able to give...
When or if?
If you get to that ministry, are you, and do you have the capacity to give a vision of how do we want our towns and our urban areas be planned so that we can have proper coordinated construction, which includes the housing program you are also in charge? The last one, the assistant chiefs.
Mule, one question at a time.
Okay, can I finish with this? Can I finish with this?
You've hit two already.
This is the last one. As a minister for housing, and you are in charge of this ministry, and to implement the housing program, what do you visualize on how the common man at the village, the assistant chief, the chief who is paying the housing levy to benefit from the housing program in this country?
That question has been asked 4 times. Yes. Yes, but I think it is important to Mule.
Maybe I can start with it and say that I had said that I see this program of affordable
You
housing
said it
is a new one.
Nascent stages and is spreading.
And I see it going forward. I see it going to the rural areas as well. But for now, we are within urban centers. For obvious reasons, infrastructure, facilities.
The next question.
Yeah. Mukami had asked me about pending bills, Honorable Speaker. The pending bills, we have about 18 billion legacy or pending bills, some of them from cases that are filed against the ministry. And these are being considered as part of the national pending bills from other ministries where a decision must be made so that we agree as a country how we deal with all the pending bills, including verification processes. That is a process being undertaken with the leadership of the National Treasury and the Executive. So we will have decisions made together. Compensation, I don't understand which compensation, because compensation in terms of compulsory acquisition is done by the National Land Commission, and basically that is not within my mandate. Any other compensation, maybe by judgments, those are pending cases or pending bills. I believe I could start with the question of Adisasa had been answered, but I am saying that this really, I'm thinking that we should get accommodation, because it's now real time possible to access your records and get information regarding your land records, especially when somebody else other than you want to access your records. You are the one to approve. I think the challenge for me is how to move faster to the other, maybe not now for me, for the ministry. For me, if I'm approved, but for the ministry, the challenge is how to expedite. And I had said that with the necessary funding, it is possible to expedite. There is an issue you raised regarding titles in Marsabit or even elsewhere. Let me also warn the members, just alert the members and the public that it is not all titles that are out there that are actually valid titles or are titles. They could just be papers with no worth of a title deed. There are many, some are just made at Liver Road, like some of the cases the Honorable Majority Leader was raising, are title papers. When you look at them, they look like they are genuine, but they are made from River Road and they cannot transfer proprietary rights to any property. So I don't know what you are referring to in Marsabit. I think it would be important for me to have the records so that I'll be able to know what you are dealing with or referring to, or the ministry to be able to be brought to their attention so that they can maybe stop whatever could be happening.